Given the current situation where we are having systemic racism, sexism, and there have been problems with women empowerment, and also seeing the cultural divide we have right now. In fact, our country hasn't been this divided since the Civil War. So all these things has made me think about how these problems which I just mentioned exist in so many different industries, especially in the tech industry as well, where I've been working for the past 15 years. So when I was making a career in IT, and I started working in different companies, I was a victim of all these things, and also stereotyping as well, because just because I was brown and I was Indian, people made assumptions about me. They thought that I can think only this way, I would act a certain way. In fact, they thought I don't drink alcohol, I don't follow sports, and a lot of times I was left out from different conversations. I was left out from a lot of team building activities just because people made assumptions about me based on my color, based on where I came from. And that was my initial experience in IT as well. And also, if you see all these tech companies currently, they think diversity and inclusion is a numbers game. This is how it works. So all these companies are given a quota to fill, like 10% of the workforce need to be have minority groups, or 12% have to be minority groups. So they have this in mind, and then they just actively look for people just to fill in that quota instead of valuing people for their skill set and what they bring to the table. They don't treat these people like humans. They treat these people as numbers which they have to fill, and they have to meet expectations, because when you fill in these minority quotas in big companies, then they can call themselves they're a really diverse work environment. And that's the state we are in right now. In fact, a study by the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission found that 70% of the workforce is still white people, and 14% are Asians, and then 8% are Hispanics, and 8% are African Americans. And that's the level of disparity we are currently having, where minority groups are being underrepresented in tech companies. So that is one aspect. Another aspect is women in technology, because they have been going through a lot of problems for decades, and no one seems to be doing anything about it. For example, a study found that 22% of the women, only 22% of the women are in leadership roles, and only 25% of women are in the tech industry, which is crazy because it's been the same percentage since the 1960s. Can you believe that? And only 4% of women earn six-figure salaries. Why is there such a huge gap, such a huge disparity in the tech industry? And it's been the same way, and no one is doing anything about it. So those are some issues we need to start talking about, and try to bring in different policies to support minority groups, to support women empowerment in the tech industry. Now, the next question you may ask is, okay, so how can we as an individual or a leader could start that change, right? So here are some things which I've learned by practicing these strategies and also seeing other people doing or following these strategies, which have been really effective in building a diverse and inclusive work environment, right? So these are the things you want to do right now. So the first thing you want to do is you have to respect and understand cultural differences. This is the thing. We are working with such a diverse workforce right now, especially right now. 99% of the employees in tech are working remotely. They're totally distributed teams working from so many different regions, and they come from different cultures, race, and religions. So this conversation of respecting their identity, respecting their culture is so important to keep in mind. And for a simple example would be even the words and phrases people use, right? So for example, people who come from India, they would say that they would mention something like this in the email saying, I intimated to the person that this product would be built, right? What a person in the US would say is, I have informed the team about this product. Do you see the words intimated and informed? There, that simple example shows you how cultural difference can make an impact, right? So we have to be cognizant of these differences. So it starts with respecting and understanding cultural differences. And also, if you don't understand something in terms of why someone does something, ask them that clarifying question. And people don't get offended because they're more than glad to answer them instead of you trying to make assumptions about their race, religion, or culture. So keep that in mind. The second thing you want to keep in mind is have mindful text conversations. So as I was saying, all the teams are working remotely right now. So people are using Slack, other type of text applications to communicate with teams. And what happens is when you're in group chats, people sometimes use gifs or words which stereotypes people from different groups, and it affects their sentiments as well. And you need to be aware of what you're doing when you're having group conversations, because you have to remember there are people from different cultures in that particular group, right? You don't want to offend anyone by saying something or using some gifts which could be really offensive to them. So just keep that in mind. The third thing you want to do is have regular D&I trainings, diversity and inclusion trainings at your company. Because for people who haven't had that experience of communicating to with people of different cultures, or if they haven't traveled outside their particular region their entire life, then they have no opportunity to get to know about other people and how people act or work from different cultures, right? A simple example is this. So I come from India, and there we have a different meaning of personal space, right? There you would find people right next to you, literally breathing on you. And that is okay, because people are so close to each other when communicating, right? And it's not creepy. But if the same thing happens here in the US, you'll probably be sued with this, and you'll have a sexual harassment case on you. That's because we need to have the personal bubble, and people have to respect that space, right? So that is the simplest example of how cultures are different. That's why D&I trainings helps to bring all these things to limelight so that we can coexist and work together with diverse set of people and people from different cultures as well. The next thing you want to do is, the fourth thing you want to do is recruit with diversity in mind. So you need to start changing your mindset of using diversity as a numbers game. Instead, respect people for being people, and you have to recruit people for the skill set and what value they bring to the company. But that being said, say you have a predominantly a white Caucasian team who are from the same region, it definitely helps to bring different perspectives by hiring people from other regions or other cultures into teams. Because research has found that the most high performing teams are the ones with people from different cultures, and they help to bring in different skill sets and different way of thinking, which helps to bring out great ideas. So you need to keep that in mind as well. The fifth thing you want to do is have open conversations. So there are two ways you could do or you could facilitate having open conversations. One is something which I used to do when I was leading teams, which is having potlucks. Potlucks is where you encourage people to bring food from their respective cultures, and what happens is when they gather together and share the food, it automatically opens up conversations about culture. So if I give you some food, then people ask, okay, this food tastes really good, why do you make this, and how did it originate from, and how did it or who has it, or which region makes this dish. You see what I'm saying? It starts the whole conversation, and then people feel more open to have actual real conversations, and a potluck is a good way to do that. And next, another thing you could do is have team building activities where you take your team and do things together, and also have some time for people to have open conversations about their cultures, their regions, their religions, their race, right? And that helps to stimulate and start all these kind of conversations and bring the team together. Finally, the sixth thing which you want to do is celebrate holidays. We are so lucky to be working with people from different cultures because they celebrate so many different holidays, which means that we get to know more about other people's culture, and we get a lot of insights into their lives as well. And the best way to do that is to celebrate different holidays, especially when you have a diverse work environment. So all these things which I mentioned are a good start to start bringing in change in work environments, especially in the technology sector, where it's been the same way in terms of diversity and inclusion for the past 40-50 years, where we have the same problems happening and people are in the same mindset. So right now, with all these things happening around us, we have to take this as an opportunity to start making change in the tech industry as well, and make people aware that we are all here to make a difference. And when we work together as a group, as one single unit, as a community that could coexist with each other, then great things happen. So yeah, that's pretty much what I would talk about if given a chance, and that's what I'm sharing with you as well, where diversity and inclusion is really important, and it's also an issue in the tech industry, and we as individuals can make a difference. Thanks for listening.